The time is 7:30 a.m. We will now call the special public meeting of the Board of Trustees of Humble Independent School District to order. No one is signed up to speak. We will now have a presentation from the Personalized Student Success Division and the Accountability Department about college, career, and military readiness, CCMR. Thank you.
Good morning.
Thank you for having us. Last month, when we spoke with the Breakfast with the Board, we talked about our personalized approach to education in Humble ISD. So some of what you're going to see is going to seem very familiar, so we won't touch on that in great detail today. But last month, we also primarily focused on our elementary and our middle school kids. Today, we want to start really looking at what we do to prepare all of our students, including elementary and middle, but with a little more of the focus on high school today for their college, career, and military readiness. So we first want to remind everybody how the state defines college, career, and military readiness. And these are the indicators that they use. Some of the things you're very familiar with are AP exams, college readiness tests like the PSAT, SAT, ACT. But there's also other ways that they can do it through dual credit, on-ramps, industry-based certifications. And Larkin LeSueur and his team are going to talk a little bit more about that one in greater detail because the state is changing that. And of course, military readiness, as well as special ed and workforce readiness. Locally, we look at some other indicators as well, such as if they're taking an advanced class, if they've completed 2 or more courses in a pathway, a program of study in CTE. And we really want to look at for the military readiness, that's a little harder one to gauge. If they continue from JROTC 2 to 3, showing that progression that they're in that. In the future, we're looking at some other ways we may look at locally on this, because what we know is there's a lot of ways that we consider students are really ready to be in the workforce outside of high school that the state isn't measuring. A great example is real estate. Currently, if you take an industry-based certification, you get your CCMR checkmark. You're done. But the state's changing that rule. They want kids to take multiple courses in a program of study and end with the industry-based certification. However, real estate's one of our favorites because it's just one class. You take the one class, you take the test, and you're a realtor. Now, I think we'd all agree you can go out and get a job as a realtor, but the state won't count that. So we're going to look at that as a local accountability. We also want to look at ASVAB, the test for military readiness. That's currently not something the state accepts, but it's an indicator for us that shows they're ready for the military. So, and the other one, the last one I want to talk about there is college entrance review. So since the pandemic, many colleges have gone to test optional. You don't have to submit an SAT or ACT to go to college, but they look at other indicators and they do a review process. So we would mirror that. And I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Rohn to recap from what you saw some of on Tuesday.
Thank you. Good morning. See if I can work this. So as we had a presentation very recently, this is what the state has defined as CCMR, and this is actually the results from the 2022 accountability system. And so overall, we had an 82, and this is using data from the class of 21, but also the STAR results from 22, and actually the graduation class of 2019, I think. So there are several years of data just in this little piece, and this is only domain 1 in the overall. So you're still missing domain 2 and 3. So this is a very complicated system. And again, it's you have a letter grade and you have a numeric score, but again, the numeric score is very deceptive because it makes you think you know exactly what goes into that 82. So the state is redoing the accountability system. They're going to redo the way they calculate the district score. They're going to redo the way they do CCMR. They're going to redo a lot of different pieces and also how they scale. So the same exact data will result in a lower score because of this new scaling. So the same exact graduation rate, the same exact CCMR performance, the same exact STAR score performance will give you a lower score. So the state is making it more and more difficult. When you look at the locally defined CCMR, we have these different categories. We've already talked about that just a second ago. So these are all those different possible ways to be considered college, career, military ready.
Now, you've seen all these numbers before. I've shown them to you before to show off all of the successes that we've had on our campuses related to our advanced placement, our dual credit partnerships, as well as our UT on-ramps courses. And again, for our guests in the room, this is new data that I was able to present earlier this week, that as of our data snapshot in the spring, 82% of our students in on-ramps classes in Humble ISD are now eligible for college credit. This is a huge bump that you can see, and I attributed this to the work of our campuses and being able to get our students in the classes to be able to show success. I'll even specifically do a shout out for Summer Creek. 100% of their kids in on-ramps Physics 1 are eligible for college credit. That's huge for a science course of that level of rigor for 100% of our kids to be eligible for college credit. But the numbers are what the numbers are. Today, our hope is that you're going to hear some of the stories behind the numbers, which is going to be some of our speakers today.
All right, good morning. My name is Christy Huseman. I work in the Advanced Academics Department. I'm one of the coordinators. And I'm going to talk about some of our successes in our International Baccalaureate program. I'm going to talk about a partnership that we have with SHMOOP, and then I'll also talk about the Avid elective class that we offer in district and some of the successes that we're having there. So when we talk about International Baccalaureate, we offer the diploma program at Humble High School, and it's widely considered the most rigorous academic experience that a high school student can engage with. Now, it's really important when we talk about advanced academics that we think about the multiple entry points that we can have for our students in Humble High School, in Humble ISD. So meaning we want to ensure that we are offering the most rigorous advanced academic options, but that we're also offering courses that students can engage with no matter where they are in their academic journey. So our diploma program, typically our students are engaging in our diploma program in 11th and 12th grade. And some of the successes that we've had here are that we've increased our diploma program retention by 10% since 2019, 2020. We've increased the number of students served in IB by 40% since 2019, 2020. We've also increased the college credit hours earned by 51% from 2021 to 21-22. And we've increased our diploma program students by 312% from this year to next year. Another new thing that we're doing with our IB program is that we've developed the IB cohort with 3 specific goals in mind. The first goal is to develop an IB identity for our students as incoming 9th graders. Like you heard me talk about earlier, the diploma program is happening in 11th and 12th grade, and we want to start making sure that we're developing that identity for our 9th grade students. Additionally, we want to increase the academic support for rigor in our during 9th and 10th grade for our IB kiddos. And then we also want to increase our diploma program completers. Now, the IB cohort was developed because we started talking to IB students, we started talking to IB teachers, and then non-IB students, and 3 themes came up. The first theme was that they wanted to know about IB earlier. So typically recruitment was happening in 10th grade. And because of that, as we know, 4-year plans are already in place and students are already plugged in. And so to place the diploma program into a student's schedule in 11th and 12th grade was really challenging. And so IB students wanted to know about the recruitment and the opportunity as they were incoming 9th graders. Non-IB students were saying the same things. They wanted to be a part of the diploma program, but their 4-year plan was already set. It was really difficult to fit the diploma program into their 11th and 12th grade classes. And so we wanted to address that need. The other theme that we saw was that our IB students were saying that 11th grade was kicking them in the teeth, meaning that when they got into those IB classes, they were so difficult for them and they did not feel like 9th and 10th grade was preparing them for the rigor that they were experiencing in the diploma program. That was echoed also by our teachers, our IB teachers, saying they're not ready. This is really, really difficult for them. And so we wanted to also address that gap of how do we better help our students be successful to complete the DP program with IB. The other thing that has nothing to do with this cohort, but I just want to shout out that even though these kiddos were experiencing an extremely rigorous environment, I asked them, I'm like, okay, y'all are talking to me about how y'all are crying because of IB. Y'all are not sure if y'all want to continue. Why in the world did you keep doing this? And the common theme that came up is because of the IB teachers. And so although that has nothing to do with this cohort, I just really want to emphasize that because it was because of their unyielding support, even though that they knew the kids needed, there was huge gaps that they had to fill, that it was because of those teachers and the belief that they had in the kids and the beliefs that they had in IB that those kids continued on. And so not part of the cohort, but I just want to make sure that we understand that. So this is what we ended up doing. The IB cohort started this year, and we started small. So we started recruiting. Humble High School has done an amazing job recruiting their 8th grade kiddos. So we have 25 ninth graders right now who are committed to the DP program whenever they get into 11th grade. And the cohort model is developed by them all taking the AVID elective class. We wanted to ensure that they were getting the college readiness skills that they needed to develop in 9th and 10th grade through AVID in order to know that they could access those rigorous classes whenever they got into 11th and 12th grade. Now we're expanding that because this has been really successful. Oh, the other part that I do want to mention is we trained an IB teacher as an AVID elective teacher. So we wanted to ensure that there was alignment there. We looked at all their IB teachers and one of them was like, I'll do it. She went to Summer Institute and was trained as an AVID elective teacher so that she could offer that support to the kiddos. What's really exciting is the work that Humble High School is doing right now as they're expanding this cohort. So the goal is that we're recruiting 75 students for the cohort. So incoming 9th graders. Right now, they currently have 80 applicants. We're going to expand the support is that they will be taking IB, but they will also have core content classes together so that there can be alignment of rigor with their 9th and 10th grade classes to the DP classes as well. And for the first time in many years, we have applicants from all over the district. And that's always been a goal of housing the diploma program at Humble High School. And we are seeing that we have 40% of our students are coming from outside the Humble High School feeder pattern. So we're really excited about the work that Humble High School is doing to recruit kiddos.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Are we offering IB courses to students that are not in the DP program?
Yes, we are. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we call those our certificate kiddos. They're able to access IB as well through just taking single courses. But we also understand that we want to do a better job of setting up kids for success for being able to engage with the diploma program.
So if you take an IB class, it's very similar for a lot of people in the room. It's very similar to taking an AP class from the certification standpoint, correct?
Yes, they have to take a test and they have to earn a 4 or higher on that test in order to get college credit. Yes, sir.
Are those IB classes offered on other campuses?
No, ma'am.
Just on Humble High School?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And that's because of the IB certification that we have to go through and
Yes.
all that.
Yes, the campus has to go through an extensive process in order to be approved as a school that offers IB courses. Yeah.
So
Awesome.
even the counselors, do they have to go through a special training council that support those IB students?
Yes. Yes, they do. Yes, because they have to, we also have an IB coordinator at the campus. Her name is Renee Lane. And I mean, that is her primary job. I mean, she knows it in and out. She knows every student. She's connected with them. She is working with the counselors, with the administrators to ensure that students are getting what they need. Yeah. Any other questions before I move on?
I was just going to comment. I have 2 kids that graduated from the IB program at Humble High School, and it's fantastic, absolutely fantastic. So I'm so happy to see that it's growing and more students are coming in from across the district.
Yeah, great.
And Charles Cunningham and I went to Bethesda, Maryland, probably 10 years ago, maybe, and visited the headquarters. And what a tremendous program! And this is kind of what we talked about when we got back in our debrief, and because we weren't offering the IB courses separate from the diploma program, number one. and how do we grow it? How do we start bringing in students from other parts of the district in? So this is all fantastic to hear.
Great.
All right, so I'm going to move on to a partnership that we have with an ed tech company called Schmoop. So when we think about college readiness, obviously we have to consider our college entrance exams that our students must take. And we have done a fantastic job in Humble ISD by offering access to those tests, right? We pay for every child to take the pre-ACT, the ACT. They can opt in to take PSAT and the SAT, but that's not the only thing that we need to be doing. Offering access is the first step. We absolutely want to make sure that our kids have an opportunity to take it while they're in school. But the second piece of it is, how are we supporting students to ensure that they are going to be successful on those tests? How are we partnering with companies to make sure that our kids who are getting tutoring, SAT tutoring, that's not the only way that they can do well on these tests, but that we in Humble ISD are actually offering opportunities for our kids to engage in test prep. So when we were thinking about partnering with a test readiness company, these were the things that we wanted to keep in mind. Our goal was that we wanted to provide comprehensive and personalized test readiness for 9th through 12th graders in Humble ISD. Comprehensive meaning that all test prep could be housed on a single platform. So we didn't want to have students going to this platform to do pre-ACT, this platform to do AP, this platform to do SAT. We really wanted to find a company that we could partner with where everything was housed in the same platform so that they could become proficient in the platform and that wasn't a barrier. We also wanted to ensure that it was personalized. If you've ever engaged in test prep, you know that a lot of times it's a train-trainer model. You get a stack of SAT books. They're about 20 pounds each, and it's set on a desk, and every kid gets the exact same thing. We did not want that. We wanted to ensure that it was a diagnostic approach, so a student could get the test prep that they needed based on what their strengths and what their gaps were. We wanted to ensure that it was both engaging and effective for our students, because we're thinking about all of our stakeholders that had to engage with the platform. We wanted to also think about our teachers, and that if we were partnering with a company that our teachers could use the resources and data to inform instruction. It allowed campuses to align with their areas of need, and most important, it was open access for our kids, that they could access the platform no matter what, and it wasn't dependent on a teacher giving them access to it. So we partnered with Schmoop, which is our test readiness. They use diagnostic approach to identify individual student learning gaps, and then it enables a customized test prep system for our students so that they can do well on pre-ACT, SAT, ACT, all of those tests.
Is this similar to Khan Academy? I mean, that's would be my.
It is similar to Khan Academy, but again, this is diagnostic, and it also covers all of their exams. So AP exams, ACT, pre-ACT, PSAT, all of those things. They can also, teachers can create classrooms within Schmoop so that they can track the data and the usage for their students. And also it helps them inform how they can deliver instruction.
Okay.
It's a bit more comprehensive and intentional.
What is the test like that's going to diagnose what their needs are? Is it similar to the actual PSAT?
Yes, sir. Yep. So it is very similar to the test that they're taking. They make sure the Schmoop is ensuring that it's aligned to the actual test that they're taking. And so they take a mini diagnostic, and through that, that's how they create their comprehensive test plan.
How long have y'all been using this?
3 years.
And do you have data that supports the like an increase in test scores? I don't want to put you on the spot unless that's the next one. Fantastic.
All right.
You're welcome.
I gave him the question to ask. Now, okay, they're telling me my time is, I'm gonna hurry. So
No, but can you send us his presentation?
100%, yes. So these are case studies that we've done at Sconzo, how we've integrated at Summer Creek High School, the usage that we've seen. So it's our third year. First year was only with Avid students. And in the past 2 years, we've expanded because we saw such success with the Avid kiddos that we've expanded 9th through 12th grade. We wanted all students to have access to it.
So each high school has had this? I mean, I'm just asking, I have a
Yes, ma'am.
senior, but he hasn't mentioned Schmoop, but I make him do Khan Academy at home.
Yes,
So I'm just
ma'am.
curious.
They can access it through My Humble. They can click, there's a Schmoop button.
Optional?
It's optional.
Okay.
It's optional.
Okay.
Mhm. Schmoop. It's Yiddish. It means to move things along a little bit at a time. Okay, I'm moving on so I don't get in trouble. Okay, the other thing that I'm going to talk to you about, I hear that people have planes to catch. Okay, so the other thing I'm going to talk about really quickly is Avid. I'm going to specifically talk about high school Avid really quickly as it relates to ensuring that our students are college, career, and military ready. We have Avid at 13 of our secondary campuses. When you look at what were the curriculum and the standards that we're teaching in Avid, it goes into 3 main buckets. Student agency, which breaks down to student empowerment and leadership of others, rigorous academic preparedness, and opportunity knowledge, where we really dig into advancing college preparedness and also building career knowledge. The how on how we get here is what you're seeing in this column over here. So we have college preparatory curriculum. We do have weekly tutorials with hired tutors, college students. We employ about 45 tutors across the district that are working with our kiddos during the school day. We also have our embedded personalized test prep with Schmoop that our students get 9th through 12th grade. We've co-created with Rice University, that is Humble ISD and Rice. We have a leadership academy for our students in Avid who we've tapped as leaders in developing their leadership capacity. We also have career speakers, university excursions, goal setting. We do the entire college and scholarship process with our students in Avid. We do the entire financial aid process. And then ultimately, it's really a close partnership with our family and students.
You said we have it at 13 secondary campuses. Who doesn't have Avid?
We have our Kingwood feeder pattern right now does not have Avid.
Okay.
And that's primarily because we want the students to choose. We don't want to
Right.
force them into tracks. So
Right.
again, it's all about personalizing and meeting the needs of
Right.
the kids. Yep, absolutely.
Great.
All right.
And so we want to look at a couple of other opportunities just briefly. I've mentioned this upcoming semester or upcoming year, we're going to have the opportunity to partner with Sanjak in a model where they are going to allow us to have all dual credit government on all of our high schools. So all of our seniors have access to this course rolling into next year, which is a great opportunity because it's a high school graduation requirement. It's part of the university's core basics that everybody needs. So what a great opportunity for all of our high schools coming up. But we do want to provide an opportunity for you to hear directly from the classroom. And to set us up for our first speaker, I did want to show this little clip for you. And you might wonder, what in the world did I just see? And so I do want to welcome up here Mr. Glenn Taylor. He is one of our honor as physics teachers over at Kingwood Park High School.
Good morning. Yeah, that's a normal day in Kingwood Park High School. No, that particular is just, it's a lab that we did there. It's in support of our dual enrollment on-ramps physics course. And really what I want to do is I want to tell you a little bit about what on-ramps physics is. And it's all about results. We have about 92% of our students are earning college credit. This is our 4th year of doing it. So those results are across 3 years of data. Prior to that, we did 4 years of AP Physics 1. We had about 20% earning college credit. So it's very important. We invested in the program because of the results, and the results continue to play out. I want to talk about a couple things, and I'm going to be watching my time. You need to understand the difference in the programs, right? We heard from earlier speakers about all the great programs we have, and it needs to be results-based. You have an AP program, which we've done, and that's the teacher's going to go to workshops. They're going to be certified by the College Board. They've got a present a summary of what the class is going to be. And then the students at the end of the year will take one test, whether they earn credit or not. So that's an AP program. Then over here, you got a dual credit, which we'll do through partnerships of Lone Star or San Jacinto College. You're going to have a teacher that's going to be a master's or above carrier. They'll be the instructor through Lone Star or San Jacinto College. And the students enroll in the class, they're in a college class. They have to take whatever grade they get at the end. Then you come over here and you got on-ramps physics, which is done in partnership with University of Texas at Austin. And we are trained through University of Texas with varying workshops. We have workshops every semester. In fact, I had a workshop just last Thursday for the day. And then we have conference calls every month. So we're constantly getting to interact with other teachers, and it's constant training. The course, I am not a master's degree holder. I have a bachelor's in petroleum engineering. So I do not have the ability to teach a dual credit class. This is called a dual enrollment. I am the guest lecturer who facilitates the course. The course is being taught through UT. So they have a UT professor, a PhD at UT. This course that we teach is exactly the same course that is taught at the University of Texas at Austin. So the way the dual credit model works, or I'm sorry, the dual enrollment model, the students take the course, they take a dual class, they have a high school class, they have a college class, they have all the same rigor as they would in a college curriculum, because it is, in fact, the same college class that's being given today on campus. It's a one semester class. In college, it's a full year class here in our program. At the end, and this is what's cool, we talked about eligibility. Halfway through, they have to be eligible to continue along the credit earning path. It doesn't guarantee credit, but it says that, hey, you're at least at the halfway checkpoint, you're doing what you need to do, you're on board. K Park, we have had 100% eligible now 4 years in a row on the course. We've never had an individual not meet the eligibility curriculum or point. We get to the end of the year, and now this is where you earned credit or not. That is, I count from a C or better. You can earn credit at a D, but I mean, no college is going to accept a D. I'm sorry. But a C or better has been 92% have actually completed and earned the credit. The beauty of the on-ramps is at the end of the program, on-ramps, the student gets to elect whether they're going to take the credit or not. They're not committed. I want to compare that to dual credit. Dual credit, you're committed once you start the class. Dual enrollment, on-ramps, the students have all the answers on how they performed, and then they get to make a credit decision. If they accept credit, they get a transcript that says University of Texas, Austin, physics. It doesn't say on-ramps on the transcript. It says physics 1301 and 1302, and that'll transfer to almost anywhere in the United States. Okay, so it's pretty important that we differentiate those. It's a low-risk model. And that's one of the things I share with the students. Try it out. If it works for you, if you get to the end and you make a C, and you're going to a public university in the state of Texas, say you go to Texas A&M, say you go to Texas State, I'd take the credit because you're going to get the college credit. Say you get a C and you're going to go to University of Texas at Austin, that's the only place where that credit actually figures into your GPA. That individual may say, you know what, I don't want to take the C. I'm going to decline the credit and I'll retake it at Austin. Okay, life's about choices. And so it really puts the student in the driver's seat. So that's why we teach on-ramps because of the results. The second thing I wanted to touch on is the college rigor. It is a college class. The third thing is the flexibility that the teacher has in the program. This little snippet of the lab that you saw was something I brought in from my AP Physics time into the program. UT gives us plenty of flexibility to, as the guest lecturer, share the information, the content with the student to the best that we see that fits. And then the students have the ability of earning credit as they go. It's not at the end of the day or the end of the semester or year when they take one class or one test. It's as they go, they know how they're doing in the course. Okay, is there any questions? I'm a big believer in on-ramps. Now, one last thing I want to say is on-ramps is, I don't believe, is the answer for everything. That's why I think it's good that we have 3 different options. At least for what we did with on-ramps physics, it was exactly the answer that we needed because of the results that the students were provided. So thank you.
And that's the perfect segue. We invited a student here who has experience with all of these. This is Catherine Meyer from Kingwood High School, and she's going to tell you a little bit about her journey.
Hi, again, I'm Catherine Meyer. I've actually participated in dual enrollment, dual credit, and AP classes. And so I have taken 6 AP classes over the past 4 years. I've taken 3 dual credit classes over the past 4 years and 1 dual enrollment. So I'm not in physics, but I wish I had taken it now. But I'm in on-ramps statistics. So again, what he's saying is absolutely true about that. If I had gone in as a freshman and had the opportunity to take either an AP class or a dual credit or dual enrollment class, for each of my subjects, I would have chosen dual credit over every single AP class. And I've taken more AP classes because those are the options that I have at my school. But there's kind of 2 main reasons why I am a firm believer in dual credit over AP. And they come down to structure and scoring. So in terms of scoring, what I mean is, like, how are you going to take that credit with you? For an AP test, you have to learn all the content over the year, and then you take one test on one day at one time to determine whether you're going to receive college credit for a class that you took all year. So all of the content that I learned in August, I now have to remember in May, and I have to be tested on in May, along with every single other cumulative thing that I learned over the year. And the other thing that I learned is that we say that a 3 is passing an AP test, but they don't really care in a lot of colleges about the 3. They actually care about a 4, or if not a 5. And so getting a 3 on the AP test is really awesome for some schools, but for most schools that I looked into, for a lot of my friends, you have to have at least a 4, if not a 5 on the AP test in order to actually receive college credit for that class. And so sitting in that class at the end of the year and taking your test and then getting a 3 on it is really great until you can't transfer it over. And it feels like a waste of your time and your money, because that's the reason that you sat in that class all year. While with dual enrollment or dual credit, you can either choose to take your credit, or you're encouraged to continue your work throughout the entirety of the year in order to receive that credit, because it's based off of your grade in that class. And so that kind of leads me into the structure of it, of an AP class is being so structured on, this is what we think you're going to be tested on this year. This is what they've done in previous years. These are the questions that you're going to be asked on this test. And so we're so focused on the idea of, let me just make sure that you can get a 5 on this test, that it's not about how am I actually learning the content? How am I actually going to be able to use my physics class in order to be prepared to go and be an engineer at A&M or UT or wherever the case is. And so for me, I've learned that from last year, taking 3 AP classes and 1 dual credit class, now I'm in 3 dual credit classes and 1 AP class, because I've learned that it's much easier for me to get the credit because I'm in dual enrollment classes, and it's much more autonomous for my teachers and for teachers at other schools to actually have control over what they're teaching. And it's not so fixated on a schedule and how things are going. And then in addition to that, we have what none of our staff would call a easy AP class, but a lot of students call things easy AP classes, which seems like an oxymoron because an AP class is not designed to be easy. But we have a class that you take and you can get a 6.0 GPA in your class, you get 100 in your AP class, which makes no sense, except that it's easy all year long, and then you get a 2 on the AP test and you're like, well, at least I have a GPA boost on that because I can't actually have credit for it. And so I think that aspect of it encourages people to take an AP class while they're not thinking about the credit that they could have received from that. While if you're in a dual credit class, like, I have to do my English work all year long because I'm getting graded on it as I go. And so I just wanted to share a little bit of my experience and why I'm a dual credit girl for sure. So thank you.
Thank you, Catherine.
All right, y'all, I'm on a mission. We're going to make up some time. So an hour wouldn't be enough to talk all about CTE has to offer anyways. So let me get through just a couple of things here. And I really want you to see some of the wonderful people that we've brought with us. Really quick, I wanted to start just with kind of CTE's measurements, where we're at and where kind of we've come from as well. We talked before about our different programs of study. Extremely proud of the 41 programs of study. I put in front of you just kind of a by location where those things are located and what programs of study and some of the plans or some of the ideas that we have as well moving forward. One of the things I wanted to highlight is that TEA recognizes 54 different programs of study. And you can see I actually even put down 46 unique pathways. We go beyond what TEA tells us because we want to offer new and innovative things like an esports program of study that doesn't exist in TEA, but we have it. And so that's one of those extra unique pathways, as well as like we have cosmetology, but we also have cosmetology and barber. And as you can imagine, those are two very different programs of or pathways, but the TEA just sees them as one program of study. So we have more than just what TEA identifies, which I think is a healthy, good thing. We've always mentioned in the past as well that we have a vast amount of CTE courses, which we're extremely proud of. It takes a lot of effort on the teacher's part as well as on the district's part to be able to support so many programs, but we want student choice. And we talked about that last month in choices for students at the middle school. We want to inform those choices as much as possible. So that's why we do what we do at the middle school, but so that at the time that they get to the high school level, they are making really kind of purposed decisions. A couple other things that I wanted to point out, we have moved more and more towards this campus-based model that is kind of unique, honestly, across the state to Humble ISD. We want to provide options to students at the campus that they're at so that they can still participate in band and football and whatever else they might want to do on their individual campus. So 83.5% of those 180 plus courses are located at every single comprehensive high school in Humble ISD. That's something really to be proud of as a district. As you look across, especially the Houston area, it is not that way. As well as when we're offering all these choices to students, we also want them to have the opportunity to get some advanced experiences. So you can see that 1,000 plus CTE concentrators stat there. That's a big number as well for us. That's annually, we have about 1,000 plus kids, and that is students who are taking 3 or more courses for 4 or more credits within one of these TEA-defined programs of study. That means that they've spent several years accumulating knowledge, preparing themselves for certification exams, and preparing to go into the industry. That also is, I'll just highlight really quick, that also has now become the TEA CCMR standard. So in order for us to get a point for our CTE students, it takes them becoming CTE concentrators and finishing their industry-based certification. So it's not a one and done thing. They have to take at least usually 3 to 4 years of CTE and get that certification before TEA recognizes them as a CCMR ready. We feel like we can actually prepare our students a little bit better, like in the real estate example, that sometimes our students are only taking maybe 1 or 2 years of CTE, but still getting an industry ready certification and still literally going into jobs, getting paid very well, better than I did out of high school. And so we feel like as a district, we're going to count those students on our CCMR, our local accountability there. Last thing I will just point out and kind of brag a little bit about, and I talked about those certifications there. Well, let me talk just a little bit about the certifications in terms of we value more than TEA recognizes there as well. They have a list that they are expanding, which is great, but only about 300 certifications, industry certifications, but they leave things off. Like at our Cape Park High School, we have our auto collision program that does a nationally recognized ICAR certification that's not on that list. And we've been advocating for years for them to put it on that list, but they have not included it yet. And so that doesn't go into our 445 annual TEA industry certifications. That goes into our 4,000 plus bucket of all the certifications that we do. The other thing that we do is we value certification process in the district. So our 9th, 10th graders who aren't yet at those job ready certifications, we want them to have a certification mindset. So we help them get resume and skill building certifications, things that are kind of preparatory to those higher job ready certifications. And then you see our number of overall CTE students there. This is a beautiful chart. All you need to know from this chart is if you take CTE for multiple years, you do better in school. That's what this says. I love this chart because the state sends us to us. This is Humble ISD students versus Humble ISD students. The orange is CTE concentrators, or sorry, concentrators. So that's 2 or more for 3 or more credits. No, sorry, 2 or more for 2 or more credits. And then our white box is those who haven't concentrated in a CTE area. So again, across the board, CTE helps a student perform better. And I love that because they're driven, they have a purpose to be at school, they're happier. they show up ready to go. And so I love getting kids in CTE. So to kind of highlight that a little bit, we have a couple of guests that we brought here with us today, and I'm going to introduce them both. They come up, they're both from Atascocita High School. This is Miss Leslie Loza and Miss Sarah Hansen. So they're going to talk to you a little bit about their CTE experience.
Morning. So I'm Sarah Hansen. I teach the upper level health science courses at Atascocita High. So I kind of wanted to talk to you about some of the experiences that the kids get in those classes, and then the certifications they get as well. So the first class is called Health Science Theory Clinical. They can take that either as a junior or a senior. During the course of the year, they will work on a certification called Patient Care Technician. This is an adult level certification. Most of the people taking this course, like outside of high school, are adults, working in the medical field. As soon as they graduate, they can work in a hospital as a patient care technician. They're industry ready as soon as they walk that stage. Also during that class, they get the experiences in clinical rotations out in the community in medical facilities. They're at the hospitals, they're at local medical facilities, chiropractors, veterinarians, eye doctors. They can kind of go to the ones that interest them. They're there for 2 weeks during this course, and then they switch, so they get a bunch of experiences through the year. And Leslie will talk a little bit about this, but I can't, there's not numbers for this, but the experiences that they get are immeasurable. They've seen babies being born. They've seen, they've been at the bedside when patients pass away. They've helped do CPR on patients. They've seen the whole spectrum. And that's not something we can do in a classroom. It's something where they can get out into the medical field and know this is what I want to do. And if you remember from the meeting Tuesday night, they can also figure out what they don't want to do, which is just as important. I've had kids who are like, I want to be a pharmacist, and they're like gung ho and ready. And they spend 2 weeks in the pharmacy and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm bored to death. I can't do this. And so that's before they've spent 6 years in school and lots of money, depending on where you go. Lots of money, that they're now are like, gosh, I don't think I can do this. So again, they can take that as a junior or a senior. And then when they're senior, they can also continue on to health science practicum. So during that course, they go through a medical assisting certification, and that will allow them to work in doctor's offices. So those kids that take both classes, they have the opportunity to work in pretty much any, medical facility that they choose to. For this class, they also do clinical rotations, but they've spent their junior year going through these different rotations for a couple weeks and really have seen which ones are a good fit for them. So their senior year, they typically are in the same rotation all year long. So they really get to know the people in that facility. They're doing, a lot more things, hands-on stuff. They're helping with IVs. They're helping take blood, things that they don't necessarily get to do when they're there for 2 weeks. And again, when they walk that stage, they have the PCT certification, they have the medical assisting certification, and they can go to work right away. So these are some examples. I just want to talk about some. These are Humble ISD students that have graduated, and they've used these certifications all in different ways. And so like they were talking about the personalized learning, these certifications can fit lots of situations. So first we have Carly. She graduated here 4 years ago. She did PCT. She also did pharmacy technician her senior year. She used that pharmacy technician certification to help pay for school while she was at Lone Star. Then she went to Texas State and finished her nursing degree. She recently started working at MD Anderson as a registered nurse in the leukemia department. So again, all those experiences that she had through her health science courses and other classes in Humble ISD, she is here. She's in the medical community. And then in the middle here is Bella. Bella graduated last year, and Bella is still here in Houston. She is having to pay for her own schooling, so she is at Lone Star right now, working towards nursing. She is working at Texas Children's at night as a PCT, using that certification to help pay for school. It's also something that's a great resume booster when she's trying to apply for nursing school and these kinds of things. And then the last one is Nicholas. Nicholas also graduated last year, and he is at Vanderbilt University. He is using that PCT certification because he eventually is going to apply for medical school. And so this is something, he has this certification. He's getting this medical experience while he's in college. So they're using these things as soon as they walk out of our doors. And I just can't tell you, like, as a teacher, like, that's what means the most to me, you know, seeing them use these things and seeing them get to discover like what they love, and really find a passion for the medical field and what they want to do. Any questions? Okay, so I would love to introduce Leslie, one of our students from Atascocita High School, and she's going to talk about her experiences in health science.
Good morning. As said, I'm Leslie Loza. I am a senior at Atascocita High School, and I'm currently in the pharmacy technician course. So just like Ms. Sanson said, we all have an opportunity to start off our junior year, and I started off in the health science theory class, which is where I earned my patient care technician. So for that class, it was more of like an experiment to see what I was really interested in. And as a CTE student, you can tell how much flexibility we have in our courses. We don't have to be in one specific course and keep it on for the rest of the 4 years, which is something that I was not aware of during my freshman year, because as said, like the CTE program is always growing, we're advancing, and it is just amazing to see how many opportunities are opened up for these 8th grade students coming in next year. So right now they are being offered the CTE wheel, which is something that just gets them more open to ideas of what they can possibly pursue in high school. And for me, it was just kind of like an experiment, see what I like, see what I don't like. And so when I started the health science theory course, I was just saying, oh, you know what? I don't have any past experiences in the medical field, like none of my family. I have no family ties, you know, I don't really know what it is. And starting that course, it was just immersing myself fully into what the curriculum was. It wasn't just, oh, you know what, you get handed off a sheet of paper, like solve the equations. No, it was you get a hands-on experience with all these different aspects of the medical field. You see patients themselves, you see just actually looking to see what you want to do in the future. And it was something that I didn't think that I would have the opportunity of doing. So getting into that course just really helped open my eyes to see what I really wanted to do and what I wanted to pursue, which I mean, obviously helped as I will now be continuing to pursue for my Bachelor's of Science in Nursing at Texas A&M. So it's just something that I really didn't think I would do. And it's just amazing to look back at it and see where I started and where I am now. As far as the other courses I'm doing this year, I'm currently a pharmacy technician working at the Walgreens. So for that class, it was more of like an externship where you go to the pharmacy while you're at school and you still get that full immersion of, you know what, you learn about all the stuff that you have to do at the pharmacy, and then you get the hands-on experience. And then I still have to take my certification course, but of course that will all come with time. Right now, I'm just enjoying actually getting my full experience at the pharmacy and seeing what I can do in the medical field and knowing that I don't have to just be in one singular interest. So that's what I learned from that experience personally. And yeah, thank you so much.
I have some questions.
Oh. I would love to hear anyone else's questions too. Okay.
Leslie.
Yes.
All right, so Leslie, correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm gonna be very embarrassed. You were at our board meeting on Tuesday?
I was.
So you want to be a traveling nurse, correct?
Yes.
I took note of that, right? So you like money and you like
helping people.
Helping people. She doesn't mind traveling.
That's right, and that's why so Liz, we have to figure out how to amplify all this really great stuff that we're doing, because it gives me goose pimples, right? When I see Leslie, the other students, this right here, and they're so articulate and passionate about it. Me being an engineer, having this type of experience while you're in high school, you set yourself up for an engineer to get internships at very, very great companies. So it's just, I'm proud of what the district is doing, Liz. This means a lot. And we got to figure out, I don't know, TikTok, Leslie, maybe we can sit down with you, whatever we need to do to create this. But it's just, I'm just proud of you. I'm proud of all the students. Really.
When you said you wanted to be a traveling nurse, it interested me because I spoke with a traveling nurse not too awfully long ago, which I didn't realize, you know, how all it encompasses being a traveling nurse. But the bottom line is, have you visited, and where do you plan on going? Is it that like I've talked to several in the sense of one lady travels to Indian reservations, and she's a doctor, but there are traveling nurses that do the same thing, and I'm curious because I mean that's quite an undertaking to pick up and go all the time. Of course, this one picks up and goes all the time, but the bottom line is that's extremely engaging, and I am so very proud for you.
And not just Leslie, I do want to say, Miss Kingwood, right here. Give me that name. Give me the name again. Catherine. Again, very proud.
And Catherine, I'd love for you to talk to my granddaughter.
Just
I thought Catherine was in the curriculum program.
Well, and this is, but, and I will tell you both. I will tell you both.
Very proud.
It is so exciting to see you because when you walked up, you didn't look like a student to me. You guys look like you're about to walk in and go work.
Go to work, yeah.
And both of you are so exceptionally literate and so well spoken. I mean, I can't tell you how proud this makes all of us. So, and we are so proud of you and congratulations.
Yeah.
And thank you for these programs.
I feel like it's just something that I'm passionate about. I'm back to your question. I saw it as my goal. During like the beginning of when I started like my CTE journey, I knew that I wanted to help people. That was my main goal at the end. And so seeing all those long hours and everything, it does not accumulate to the amount of pride that I would feel in myself to actually give back to the healthcare community. So that's why I don't mind the long hours. I don't mind the traveling. I don't mind the pickup and moving. I just want to help people.
Thank you so much, sweetheart.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
That's beautiful.
And I want to introduce one more student. We have talked a lot about college. We've talked about career. I want to make sure we highlight our military program as well. We have JROTC programs at each of our comprehensive high schools. And this is Cadet Major Lishanice Jones from Humble High School. And she's going to tell you a little bit about our JROTC program.
Hello, good morning. My name is Lashanice Jones, and I am a cadet major. I'm a senior at Humble High School, and I'm the battalion executive officer for the JROTC program. I joined the JROTC program in 9th grade, and I'm so happy that I stayed within the program all 4 years because my time in JROTC has allowed me to join the Texas National Guard as the private first class, and that came with not only responsibility, but more money. Yes, so I have enlisted in that, and I've been in the National Guard for a year now. JROTC has developed me as a leader. It's giving me a bunch of service learning opportunities, and it also has given me and opened the doors for scholarships. My sergeant major, he suggested that I apply for the National ROTC scholarship. I applied for that and I interviewed. I went through that process and I won the $140,000, excuse me, full ride scholarship to 3 colleges, Texas A&M, UT, and Sam Houston. So I'm going to Texas A&M University. I want to major in psychology, minor in music because I want to become a psychiatrist. The mission of JROTC is to motivate young people to become better citizens, and I would definitely encourage other students to be a part of this program because I feel like it is very beneficial. So, are there any questions? Thank you so much.
She's also a very well-rounded student. She takes advanced classes and she just recently participated in a beauty pageant.
Yes, I was in the Miss Houston Teen Pageant and I won the People's Choice Award. Yes. I'm also in the student advisory, everything else. So you can definitely be a part of the JROTC program and do everything else. So yes, I recommend it.
Thank you, Lashanice. You've already heard us speak a little bit about personalized counseling in a previous meeting, but I'm going to turn it over for the few minutes we have left to Ty Hobbs, our director.
Good morning. As you know, our school counselors play an essential role in helping our students to become college, career, and military ready. They work with our students through personalized counseling. And with personalized counseling, it allows them the opportunity to work with students one-on-one to help those students discover their interests and their strengths, to select their endorsements, but most importantly, to select the appropriate courses that they need to take in order to ensure that they're prepared for life after high school. So today, we have our Kingwood High School lead counselor, Mrs. Stella Campbell, and she's going to talk to you a little bit about personalized counseling and CCMR.
Thank you, Ty. Have you ever seen the award shows where they have their speech and then they just rip it up? I'm kind of doing that in my head because I know we're limited on time. But you see this cute little fur ball up here, that's Cider. That is our new canine counselor at Kingwood High School. He actually finished training this week. So next week he has his doggy ceremony for graduating. So we're going to play Paw and Circumstance. So we have a lot of fun at Kingwood High School. CCMR is a year-long thing. It's not just some boxes that we check to make sure we have some numbers. And it's a district or a campus-wide initiative for us. The counselors play a very vital role in this, but we also work hand in hand with our administrative team, our teachers, and it's just really important all the way around. We do it throughout the year. It's not just a one-time. We look at our spreadsheet and make sure we have CCMR points because CCMR is more than just a point. It's making sure that these students are really prepared for life after high school, whatever they choose to do. Oh, wrong way on the clicker. So we start out with personalized counseling in the fall. I know you will all get this presentation, and I've embedded links of things that we use at Kingwood High School with our students. And so you see when they come in the fall, we have a questionnaire for them to get them thinking as they're waiting to come in our office for their personalized counseling meeting. And it's different for every grade level because I'm not going to ask a freshman the same questions that I'm going to ask a senior because they're not going to know yet, right? And so we get them thinking about what their dream career is. And then we talk to them about how to get there, what those goals are, what courses could they take to get there. And then we have one-pagers that we send out with a lot of CCMR information. And so all of these are linked in here. Then we follow up with spring personalized counseling. And in the spring, we start with course preview day on our campus, and then we walk through doing our personalized counseling. That's how we do course selection. Course selection back in the day was classroom based. And in high school, we would walk into a classroom and we would try to answer 32 students' questions all at one time in one period. That's not just overwhelming for the counselors, but that's overwhelming for the students because a student that has a question may not ask it because they've got 30 other friends in the class that have other questions as well. So this one-on-one with our students is really important because Catherine's one of mine, and we get to sit there and talk about, okay, AP, dual credit, on-ramps, what's best for you? Where are you going to go after school? When you go to college, where are these credits going to go and what will transfer best? So we get to have those kind of conversations with them and customize their experience. So course selection through spring personalized counseling really benefits our CCMR process. And then we have our CCMR goal in the fall that one thing that we have at Kingwood High School is Mustang Hour. If you've not heard of that, it is our hour-long lunch where we have A block and B block, and students get to pick where they want to have lunch. And then they use the other block to have tutorials. They get involved in clubs. We have guest speakers and different things that are going on campus. At the beginning of every 9 weeks, we've started this year to where we have a reset. And we don't have Mustang Hour, we have 3 lunches. And then we have lessons that go out at the beginning of 5th period for that first week. And Dr. Nazar and Miss LeBlanc are kind enough to give me a couple of those days to send out things from the counselors. So we talk about goal setting and SMART goals because SMART goals are important because things need to be attainable and measurable. And we talk about CCMR. Then we follow it up with our goal setting for CCMR. We also have a CCMR team on our campus, and that consists of myself, our associate principal, Ms. LeBlanc, and 2 assistant principals. And we meet about once a month, sometimes it's once every 6 weeks, but we look at the data that Ms. LeBlanc maintains on a spreadsheet. And that data comes from our dual credit courses, our on-ramps courses, college entrance exams, which now our students have the opportunity to take ACT and SAT. We really encourage them to take both tests. We had a lot of students that opted in to take the SAT, which we feel like is really important because the National Merit Scholars come from the SAT, which we are really excited to announce that last week we were able to recognize 4 of our seniors as National Merit Scholars. So we encourage them to take all the opportunities that Humble ISD provides them. But we also look at AP scores, and then something that we're piloting this year is College Bridge. So those students that may not earn their point, they may be one of those students that didn't earn their point from dual credit. They may not be a dual credit student. They may not earn high enough on the TSI or the SAT, the ACT. We have this College Bridge program that we can use for those students. And it is where they can earn a college credit and get their CCMR point. And so this is something that we track as a team. Another way we address CCMR at Kingwood High School is through Dr. Nazar's brainchild of Moonshot. Moonshot is something that is CCMR. It's getting students internships. It's getting them job experiences. And so this is something that goes on throughout the year. Students may have days where they can go to an LGI and get a lesson on resume writing. This week is actually a week where we are having College and Career Week. We also had one of these in the fall. And so this week you can see that we had College Day where we had colleges that came, students could meet with them. We've had mock interviews, which we had 60 students that participated during Mustang Hour on Tuesday and had mock interviews to learn what it is for a good interview. If you've ever sat in on interviews, some of them are not so great. So this is a skill that students need to learn. So they're getting this at our campus. We also had Career Day yesterday. Today is a lunch and learn in one of our classrooms where students can learn about scholarship applications, doing the essay writing, all of the different important stuff for that. And then tomorrow we have a guest speaker. So these are examples of things that go on year long on our campus, just to prepare students for more than just getting that point. We're preparing them for CCMR for life after high school. And then this is just an example of things that we're doing to prepare our incoming 8th graders to be a Mustang. So we had Future Mustang Week where all of our feeder patterns got involved from elementary, middle school. We did things in the last week in September. It was a really fun week just to get everybody excited to be a Mustang. We had this document that we sent out this year to our feeder middle schools just to let them know about everything that was coming for high school and all the opportunities that they would have. You see, we've made it through a lot of the course selection process, our 8th grade night. Now they have some fun stuff to look forward to, their promotion pep rally, Mustang Roundup, and then our walk the schedule. So things are kicking off at Kingwood, and we're just really excited about all the different opportunities that we have. And one thing I do want to just say, because I know we're out of time, I have been a counselor for a decade, and I have never had the relationships that I have with students. This is my 2nd year in Kingwood, and it's because of personalized counseling. I've never known my students to the level that I know them now. And I just want to say thank you for giving us the opportunity to know our students better.
I just want to take a second too before we wrap up here to acknowledge, first of all, thank you to our students who came out today to speak to us. You guys are the best. Thank you. And for all of our other guest speakers. We also have all of our high schools are represented here today. We have our principals and associate principals here. So if you have any questions after we end about what they specifically do to promote college, career, and military readiness on their campus, they're here and excited because it's one of our favorite topics that we talk about with them. And clearly we could go on a lot longer than our hour. but we will wrap up. I know that if any of you want to tour the facility, Rusty is doing tours as well right after this. So again, thank you for giving us the opportunity to talk a little bit more about what we do. We're obviously all very passionate about it. And we want to just continue to keep growing it to make sure our kids have whatever they need for their personal goals and desires when they leave us. So thank you.
Yeah, yes.
Sarah, do you have, I don't know how readily available, but can we see, I mean, it's great to see all the students who are really starting, but in terms of, like, let's just be at a high school by campus, do you have stats that would show, let's say there's 1,000 kids at this campus, what percent are in, this program, that are taking secondary classes, that are in dual study, on-ramps, just to get a sense of, okay, because these are things that really speak to rigor in our academics and our curriculum across the district. And so I think that's good information if it's readily available. I don't mean to spend hours and hours doing it, but I just wonder, because that way it points to, it's not just, we saw some great kiddos come up here today, and there's obviously a lot more, but it would be kind of good to see just how deep it goes so that, say, yeah, look, here's what's going on. So, STAR test is one point, but here, let's look at this stuff. Let's look at this data.
Yeah, we can definitely pull that together. What the campuses use, what our principals, our counselors use, we have a dashboard where they can see, now it's not broken down by category like you're saying, it's broken down by individual student. So they can literally pull up Catherine Meyer and see what she's in and where she's getting her CCMR readiness through it. And so that's what they use, but we could certainly put together something like what you're saying from that information as well.
It's not a lot of time.
Yeah.
Just because I think that would be a great snapshot for people to say, look,
Absolutely.
here we are,
And just to piggyback on that, for our guests in the audience, they might want to go back and watch Tuesday night's board meeting because the full presentation was there with all the data points and a lot of explanation about the way TEA grades. It was brought up about the Chronicle article and A to F and all that stuff and how we were able to talk about how not all district is graded the same. We're graded with 29% of the districts in the state versus the other 71%. So it's not equally weighted. And the stuff that we saw today is not measured on a STAR exam.
Yes.
And that's what our community wants, is what we saw today.
Well, and I really appreciate Ms. Kingwood, counselor. Thank you. I appreciate finally to the point that you are given the time to get to know your kids, and especially at the middle school and high school levels, because it is so critical, because those are the kids, they are making their decisions for the future, and they need that relationship. So thank you, and I'm glad.
Thank you all.
And I hope we can improve it even more.
Yeah, and thank you for bringing up Tuesday night's board meeting, because that's absolutely where we presented a lot of the data. And I want to reiterate from what I said Tuesday night, it's a lagging indicator. So you're not seeing real life data, but what you're hearing today from all the students and our speakers we've had in our department is when we saw those numbers, regardless if it's lagging or not, they weren't where we wanted them. So these are the things we've been putting in place over the last 3 years to try to make sure that we are providing everything we can for our students. So when they walk out, they're ready for that job, they're ready for that college. Whether or not the state agrees with us, we know they're ready and we know they have what they need to be successful.
That I know that periodically you survey the students and everybody to see what jobs what are they looking at? What are they wanting to go into the future? So how often do we shift these things? I mean, do our programs I heard you talk about programs added. So, and is that how that happens?
Yes, so absolutely. So in terms of the surveying, we're utilizing our CTE wheel because it gives us that jump of what are they, gives us a couple of years to be prepared for when they're going to be in high school. How often do we shift? Every year. In fact, the new course proposal committee does not like me very much because I propose 7 or 8 courses every year. So yes, so we are expanding and revamping, and sometimes it's not a new course, it's a new take on that course. Yeah, so a replacement for that course so that it's updated and prepared for the next industry.
I say that, I was looking over the course options, and I look at, because my husband came from the oil and gas exploration, but where is it in the energy spectrum and those types of things? But how has it changed?
Right.
So that makes perfect sense.
Yep, absolutely. So a good, just quick example of that is our EMT program that we are bringing back online again this year, and it is going to be bigger and better than ever. Kingwood High School has agreed to help host it, but it'll be a district-wide program, and it's coming back dual credit through Lamar Institute of Technology. And so it's one of those scenarios where we had a situation and we felt like, you know what, we can improve this, we can do it better, we have an opportunity, so we improved it and reproposed it as a dual credit option now.
That is awesome, because I saw a really great program down in McAllen on the EMT. So.
And barbering is another great example of the students. The students literally were cutting each other's hair in the restroom. And so that is loud and clear telling us we need a program for you. So we implemented Barber the next year. We wanted to make sure they have what they need.
Well, thank you all so very much. Thank you to the students. Excellent presentation, really. And everyone here, if you haven't had an opportunity to go check out the virtual learning lab, Ms. Parker and I got a chance to do that.
Yep, we're gonna take a tour real quick.
Yeah, okay. It's fantastic. Yes. Okay, so the time is 8:41 a.m. This meeting is now adjourned.